What's up, gamers, and welcome back to another episode of our F1 2020 Driver Career Mode, episode number 21 today for the Japanese Grand Prix. If you missed our previous video at the Russian Grand Prix, be sure to check that one out. Quite a drama-filled race full of stupidity on my part for going on a stupid strategy and ultimately getting our second non-points finish of the year. But we got to put that aside and look ahead to Japan, and here we are. We're going to invest in a major tire wear upgrade for our chassis, and heading into the Japanese Grand Prix, I mean, it looks like our luck is finally turned around as all three upgrades anticipated for the weekend, our ERS upgrade, our drag reduction upgrade, and our another tire wear upgrade, were all successful. And we rushed the final one, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, looking into the race weekend, and we're struck with the fact that mixed conditions are to be expected at the end of the race. So that means we'll have to compromise. For sure we're going to use a dry setup around here because rain is only a small factor in the weekend. But that means we'll have to be very careful in damage control during those final stages of the race, which will lead to some very peculiar and very interesting strategy calls from us and our rivals. But looking ahead, Carl sends us an email that apparently there's going to be a regulation change, which means that we'll have to rumored for the power unit. So that means we're just going to have to be careful and ensure we don't do anything stupid by investing in our power unit department, because then we'll have to reinvest resource points towards all this as well. But looking into practice 1 in P11, and you can kind of tell that it stopped raining during the session, considering that our top three are Hamilton, Albon, and Latifi. Hamilton being the only one that would make sense in this pairing. But P11 for us, I mean, not great, but remember, we're on a dry setup right now. So, of course, we're going to be hampered with less downforce. And as you can see, as we go through practice 2, our internal combustion engine is at a critical point. So we're approaching that period of the season where we might have to invest in new engine components, which will result in grid penalties. And again, in practice 2, we are met with rain ending at the end of the session, as our top three are now Leclerc, Bottas, and Russell. So 2 Williams in the top 3, which really just shows that practice means nothing. But we're down in P10, and usually on a long run pace, we're further down. So that's actually a very reassuring mark for us. But at the end of practice 3, it's dry, and we were able to do our quali sim, and we finished top. And Gio's in P9, so potentially the Alfa Romeo team looks as though we're going to be on the right foot. Bottas is down in P8 and Hamilton down in P14, but they were on the hard compound, so we can't evaluate them just on that. But let's just head into qualifying. And here we are into qualifying, and I do apologize if the audio does not come out very good. I am suffering from allergies right now, allergy season where I'm living. And anyway, here's our Japanese Grand Prix setup, and the link to the video in which I found this setup will be in the description down below. And feel free to pause at any moment. But as you can see, heading underneath the bridge through turn 9, not a very good exit from us, but as we exit the Castillo Triangle, aside from that little upset of going wide into turn 9, not a bad lap from us. We finish P3. However, we do drop down the order throughout the qualifying session, but we're down in P6 right now, and we go down to P7 because, of course, as I mentioned in previous videos, if you're in the top 5 in Q1, you don't really need to risk your engine or tires going off for a second run. So we do very well for ourselves. Vettel's down in P10, Raikkonen down in P12. So the Red Bulls, Verstappen's down in P6, showing that the Red Bulls don't have much pace around Japan. And Albon and Stroll was really struggling, considering that he finished top of the session in Russia in practice 1. On par with the winner, Max Verstappen. Not very good. And once again, Gio gets beat out by Daniel Kvyat, his rival, and his barrier heading into Q2. But anyways, on our first Q2 run, through turns 1, 2, and 3, we do ride the curbs, and through 130R, we ride the curb again. And each time we do that, we unsettle the car, resulting in us having to correct and lose time. We do finish in P3, Sainz in P1, Hamilton in P2 on a medium tire, and on my in-lap I spin, and I have to reverse quickly because there's a racing point and a Mercedes heading through turn 7, so we have to clear the way for them. And thankfully we do that. But unfortunately, our lap is very good. But we were on a used set of softs. So we're going to try and go on a new set of soft compound tires and see what we can do. Actually, I don't think it was on new softs. I think I ruined the softs. As you can see, ride the curb a little too much again through turns 1 and 2. But on 3, I'm able to get a good run in. However, heading through the spoon curve of turns 13 and 14, not very good. Going wide again, losing time. But overall, compared to our first lap, not too bad. And we finished in P3. We dropped down to P5. So in the end, it's not a bad qualifying session from us. And considering how worn our engine is, we're competing really well. But both Red Bulls are eliminated from Q2. So that's a shock. And heading into our first lap of Q3, we decide to go back on our used set of soft compound tires, which proves to be a mistake as we lose the back end. Heading through the end of the spoon curve, the end of the S curves, the famous Suzuka S curves, and we ride the curb out of the spoon curve too much, unsettling the car again. So we have to be careful about where we go on the curb. We're only in P5, not very good. As I'm adjusting the MFD, once again, same spot, showing how important tire grip is around here. But oh my god! That could have been a cataclysmic clash as Perez just storms by us, like less than a millimeter separating the two of us, which could have been bad. But we're going to head on our last set of soft compound tires and see if we can do better than P9. And of course, this is our best lap, which is a good sign of things to come. So we're going to show you the entire thing. Heading through the turn 1, the long swooping right-hander, going right way too much on the grass. We do lose time. We're going to make up time through the S curves of turns 3 through 6. Great. These are the iconic curves of Suzuka, and of course has inspired many others to come. Through the Dunlop curve of turn 7. Very, very important we get good grip. Apologies for the allergies again. Heading through turns 8. Little sharp turn into the sharp turn of turn 9 underneath the bridge. Suzuka being the only figure of 8 circuit on the calendar. Heading through turn 10 into the hairpin of turn 11. Important to get the good apex speed here and get right on the power again as we get into the long swooping right-hander of turn 12 as we head towards the spoon curve heading up, which will take us over, which will lead us onto the run that will take us, no, we passed the bridge. Apologies. No, we haven't crossed the bridge yet. We're heading towards the bridge. Do the spoon curves at turn 13 and 14. Do not mount the curb on the inside of the spoon curve because that will really unsettle the car. Do the long stretch over the bridge now, heading towards the famous 130R, which will set us up for a run into turns 16 and 18 to the chicane of what is known as the Casio Triangle because of the tarmac that is used for alternate layouts. And here we go, good run, not riding too much on the curbs again. Do the final turn of turn 19, across the line, qualifying's over. We make up over a second of a lap, and it's P4, so we get on the second row of the grid, which is not a bad result for us. And considering our competition ahead, Valtteri Bottas, Hamilton, and Leclerc are only all ahead of us. And considering our starts, we could get ahead of them and put ourselves in the mobile chicane. Alexander Albon, being the first time in a long time he's made it into Q3, does not really represent, and once again is beaten by his teammate. But we have a lot of work to do. Let's head on to the race.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, We have Leclerc, Skip, Daniel Ricciardo, and Sainz, Perez, Stroll, Albon, and Kimi Raikkonen, Ocon, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean, and George Russell. Latifi and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
And unfortunately for Sebastian Vettel, the man who qualified in P6 got an engine penalty, which puts him in the back of the grid. But fortunately for us, that's less competition. And we're going to go on to us. Seemingly they want us to go on a one stop. But I do believe that, here's the thing, rain's going to come. That's inevitable. So what I decided to do is we're going to do a one-stop as well, but we're going to extend a medium tire stint over the hards. Because my logic is I believe the hard tires are going to slow us down. There's no point going out on a harder compound. It's better to go on a softer tire, a faster tire that will warm up. Temperatures will heat up quicker on a cold track surface due to the rain. And we'll be able just to hold it out and gain speed over that crucial period between rain and dry. And of course, as you can see, I do time it very well. So the end of the medium stint will be when the rain comes. But here we go to the Japanese Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. And it's a great launch as he got up on the right of Hamilton, right against the Pirelli wall. Great launch off the line, squeezed it against the wall. He's trying to take into Bottas into the first turn. Unfortunately, get Singapore flashbacks, and we do back off, and Bottas takes the lead. But we side in front of Leclerc to go into P2. It's a phenomenal start. And look on the replay right here. Look at how close we get to that Pirelli barrier. That was so risky. If Hamilton had tried to close the gap, that would have been a monument. That could have been race ending. So that was big kahunas right there. And as you can see on the replay, we go way too far on the inside, so we do have to back off. But thankfully, Leclerc doesn't do that much of a jabbing move. He followed Bottas through turn 12. Yellow flags behind us due to hairpin, so maybe there was a collision. Unfortunately, on the replay, I was unable to find if there was any sort of collision. Heading through the spoon curve, going very wide, a little too wide. So Bottas is extending the gap. So now my strategy is starting to become compromised. But if Bottas is also on the one stop and goes to the hards, we'll have a chance. But we have bigger issues to attend to. As Leclerc on the straights are catching up stupendously as we go into the first corner. Great entrance. And the distance to Leclerc is extended a little bit. And we're going to extend that gap due to the S curves. However, Leclerc is continuously on our backside as we head across the line to lap 3. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so not only are we extending the gap to Leclerc, but we're also going to close the gap to Bottas. However, DRS is open, which gives me a lot of stress, and we extend track limits. Thankfully, just a warning, but with the DRS, Leclerc will become even more dangerous now, and we're nowhere close to being into DRS range. And of course, Jeff tells us that one of our engine components, the MGU H, I believe, is worn. So this is the worst position to be in, engine troubles while being chased as we head into the hairpin of turn 11. And as you can see right here, a lot of our engine is yellow right now, and that's not good. That means we're going to lose critical engine power, which could be the difference between finishing on the podium, getting a race win, or finishing best of the rest. But here we are. On to lap 6, our pit window is open to go into the medium tires, but as I've said before, if everyone else is going to go into the hard compound, then we got to make sure our medium tires can last the distance. So instead of pitting now, we're going to go for one extra lap, see if we can limit the stint on the medium tires so that we can keep those tires within their operational window, even when the rain comes. But here we are on to lap 7, not really making much time up to Bottas, or extending the distance to Leclerc. We enter the pit lane, switch onto medium compound tires. We're probably going to be towards the back of the grid because the grid not much of a distance has been extended, but hopefully the strategy will ensure that we retain speed and we're not caught out because of having to warm up the hard tires on the outlap. But here we are, not a very good stop by the team. I mean, already we're doing a risky strategy, something that many other teams probably aren't thinking of doing. And their team gets so pissed off as Russell passes us, but thankfully we're not dead last because Nicholas Latifi is just somewhere else right now. So hopefully we can get something to work. Here we are, catching up to Russell. Looks like the rain is coming way earlier than we expected as gray clouds loom over the circuit. We're going to dive into the Casio Triangle, a la Alexander Albon and Orlando Norris in 2019. But unlike the two back then, we don't make any contact with Russell, and we get the move done. That was a critical move, as Albon is now pitting, and he's going on the hard tires. So hopefully that's a sign that Bottas will do the same. Let's look at the replay. Great dive bomb from us. Russell just leaves the inside wide open, which gives us the opportunity to dive the Williams. And now we just don't have the slower car in front of us. And with clean air, we'll be able to get the distance. But Russell won't be happy about that.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Sorry to be Russell right now. But as you can see, the medium tires are doing work for us. We're going to set 2 purple sectors. That means it's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and everyone's pitting now, and everyone's going on the hard tires as he jump Hamilton out of the pit lane. So the medium tire and its speed has allowed us to regain our position and not be behind the Mercedes. Great job by us. I think this strategy, this is like 2000 IQ play going on right here, and we just pulled the undercut to perfection.
How am I still behind him, man? Come on.
Shows that the undercut is powerful in most circuits. Heading into the Casio Triangle, and the first spot of rain falls on lap 10. The forecast was saying the rain would start towards the very end of the race. So, I think we just I already knew this was going to be a good strategy. As we pass Leclerc, the undercut again working in our favor. But I think the faster tire has allowed us to do. Bottas is on the hards. So we're going to close the distance to him, and with the rain, it's going to be harder to get those tires up to temperature, but we've already had running distance on the medium compound, and so they've worn in, and we're hopefully going to close the gap to Bottas. Here we are into lap 12 now. As you can see, Bottas is really struggling as we're gnawing the gap, and in an Alfa Romeo on a Mercedes, this shouldn't be happening, but because of the conditions in the tires, that is the case, as we gained 7/10 on the following lap to Bottas. So this is a stupendous strategy. Like this isn't 2000 IQ play. This is like 2 billion IQ play. Like this is big brain time as we get within DRS range right now. But unfortunately, it looks like DRS might be disabled coming up soon, as we have to be very careful heading through the center through the S curves and through turn 7. Heading into turn 8 right now, we're closing the distance ever so much to Bottas. He's really struggling on those hard tires. And although they may be fresher, they're colder because the rain is affecting the track surface and it's affecting the grip. So this was an amazing... I can't get over how good a strategic call this was, as we kind of lose the back end a little bit heading through the hairpin. But heading onto lap 15, and our pit crew's calling us in for intermediates right now. So this is crazy. I didn't even anticipate this. Bottas has entered the pits now for intermediate tires. So now I'm a little concerned because we saw how powerful the undercut was. So we have to put in a great in-lap right now to ensure that we keep the position. And DRS is disabled as we head on the run to 130R, which shows that when the DRS is disabled, that means it's time to switch onto the wetter compound. Here we are entering the pit lane, and Hamilton and Stroll follows the same strategy as us, and he's 22 seconds behind, so he's really struggling to find that grip because I'm guessing he had trouble wearing them in too, and hopefully he'll act as a mobile chicane to Bottas, who's on the intermediate tire, the better tire for these conditions. And we should be able to take the lead of the race. And here we are. The overcut's going to work in our favor. Stroll pits now. Bottas has a clear run down the start-finish straight. You can see him heading down. And we, out of the pit lane, we take P1. Our strategy, that is a strategic masterclass right there. That is amazing. And with little over half the race distance left, we're going to do this. And Bottas must be fuming for his team putting him on the hard tire.
Why the no one listens to me when I say it's gonna be a 2-stopper? F***ing hell.
Yeah, not a very happy boy right now. And of course, now we have the easy work has been done. We've passed Bottas through the pit strategy thanks to the changeable conditions, but now it's a problem of trying to hold the Mercedes back, because that is a fast car regardless, and now having the proper tire, things are going to be tough. But because we have the fresher intermediates, we'll be able to push a little harder as we head on to lap 17. 10 laps left of this Japanese Grand Prix, heading into the hairpin, going a little too deep into the curve, which is allowing Bottas to close the gap. And these are the types of mistakes we cannot afford to make if we want to win this race. As we head through turn 12, now exiting the Casio Triangle towards the start-finish straight. 7 laps left, and we extended the gap to about 2 seconds to Bottas. So he's really struggling, and of course in real life Bottas is not really a good wet weather driver. We go way too deep into turn 1. Thankfully this time we don't get a track warning violation. I'm assuming the stewards are giving us a little bit of leniency because of the wet conditions. Heading on to lap 21 now at the same spot. We lose the back end a little bit. We go a little deep onto the grass. We regain it on the S curves, but that allows Bottas to close the gap. He's up to 2 seconds behind us, so the 3-second gap and all the hard work we've pulled off has just been extinguished in the last, just in that one mistake. And now Bottas is starting to get into his own as we go wide through 130R. The conditions are getting very, very bad right now. The rain, because as you remember, the rain was supposed to get harder the longer we get into the race. So now we're going to start seeing some problems, I'm guessing, because I mean we're now on the crossover where it could be into wet conditions. The race was going a little longer. So we've just got to afford to hold the fort. But Bottas is getting really too close for comfort. We ride the curve a little too much, and he's within a second of us, heading onto lap 23. 4 laps to go. So here we go. This is the intense mode. We have to focus now. All this bad luck has been leading to this moment. We can take the win here, but we can't do a stupid. This is Italy all over again with Bottas chasing us down. But this time, there's no 5-second time penalty that we have to worry about. Here we are, through the Dunlop curve of turn 7. Great entry. Unfortunately, Bottas is now his tires are coming alive, so I have a fear that he was saving his tires for this very moment. So we have a monumental task on our hands to hold off the Mercedes, who is closing closer and closer. He's gnawing away at that gap to us, and of course now I'm worried that we've been pushing too hard because of that gap, and because of that, now we're going to start facing some tire wear opposed to Bottas, who has been saving his tires, and it's for an all-out 4-lap charge to head through the spoon curve. Great entry. Make sure we don't ride too much on the curb. Thankfully, we don't get a great exit into 130R, and we need to just be brave now. And on the last lap, as you see, Bottas is almost within. We have a huge mistake. I'm sorry, I get too mixed up in the action. I even held my breath through the S curves. Bottas has closed the gap to about 2 tenths. So hopefully, as we pass the back marker of Latifi, he will act as a mobile chicane to Bottas, and hopefully he'll be able to extend the gap. Come on, fellow Canadian, help us out. Never mind, he doesn't help us out. But heading into the Casio Triangle, on the last lap, just a few more corners to go. Victory is in sight, and we do it. I think we're going to do it. After a strategic masterclass, this is amazing work by us. After so much bad luck to the second half of the season, we take our first win since France.
You've really been great today.
Amazing job by us to do the impossible. And we win driver of the day. Oh, this feels so good.
They've done it then, here at Suzuka. A brilliant win on this beloved figure of 8 circuit. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Alfa Romeo have been winning fans the world over with their brilliant driving, showing that they're a force to be reckoned with out there on the track. They'll certainly be building on that fan base after today's excellent results.
And I'm praying that this time YouTube doesn't copyright the victory music I put. But what an amazing result by us. I just can't get over it. To be chased down by a Mercedes in the wet and an Alfa Romeo being put there not because of on-track battles. Like, I don't think we had a single overtake this race apart from the very beginning and apart from getting by Russell. But to win on strategy, on a track where, honestly, even in the dry, even in the wet, we shouldn't have won. We needed this after so many bad races. And Gio was a good race too, finishing in P14. Probably one of his best results apart from his points finish, which is good for him too. Max Verstappen, though, has a shocker. Though he finishes in the points, Kimi Räikkönen, his teammate, who's constantly been outpaced by his younger accomplice, just doesn't. like, I don't know what happened to Max there. And Seb, decent. But as you can see, because of Verstappen's terrible race and our race win, we passed him to take P3 in the Drivers' Championship again. So this is great results shown from us, and almost a flip of what happened in Russia. We shouldn't be in P3 in Alfa Romeo. No change in the constructors. And, well, that was just a great race. But unfortunately, we lost our rivalry to Leclerc after qualifying. However, we decided to go with him again because he was honestly the easiest. And we get a good start after this amazing race. Hopefully, we can carry this good luck to the US Grand Prix. Thank you so much for joining me on this amazing video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Share the video. Share the love. And let's get hype. With only 4 races to go in the season, this should be a great one. I'm Isolation Gamer 05. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves out there in this crazy world. And until next time, peace out.